Welcome back, my gardening friends, to the beginning of October tour. We'll start on plot 1 and we're a week after Malvern roughly. I'm going to see if that carrot will go to seed, to try and save some for that. I won't be growing giant cabbages next year. I just can't get the weights that I need to beat some of the others. I managed to get about 13 kilograms, and we're talking 28 kilograms for a red cabbage. These are nice and hard. They do weigh heavy, but there are other growers out there got better seed, and I'm going to have a go at something different next year. And I've gained a few friends for some of the cabbages that I've given away. The blackberry been absolutely wonderful 2023. I've got some pruning to do. Some of the branches have got damaged in the winds that we're having. Apologise for any noises that you might be picking up. We'll tidy this up just after Christmas once it's all died back, and with the rain that we've had, some of the fruits have gone over, unfortunately, but it's been a wonderful harvest of autumn fruiting raspberries as well. Well, the dahlias have been a real experience, and I could have won a few prizes at Malvern if I'd have took a few, so I'm just getting the bug a little bit, and it's always something different to try. And the Vegega garden beds are working really well. The links to those are in the description below. We took a few sticks of rhubarb for the Malvern show. Again, I can't have the variety that gets those big thick sticks, so eventually I will reduce this again if and when I can get some more beds, either pallet collars, etc. But this will die back. We'll just let it die back naturally, and then we'll give it a mulching of manure and wood chips. I think I should have took the tops out of these summer fruiting raspberries, and I've still got to undo those strops and drag these in to keep them upright. We've made a little hole in the 3,800 litres of found compost as we've filled some of the raised beds. Collecting manure once a week, and it's steaming and teeming with life, breaking that down nicely. And I've had to leave this out to remind me to keep emptying the bucket of the black gold, the manure liquid runoff. I'm collecting so much at the moment. I'm thinking about adjusting the guttering and the spouting to drop into this barrel, then I can have another barrel sat there so that I've got plenty. This is absolutely wonderful stuff to have, and the material, the horse manure, is wonderful stuff to pop onto the beds. We're not getting much manure runoff on this now because it's literally spent. So the giant vegetable beds, these have had manure. We'll continue with that here and across these. I've got enough green manure to try green manure on those, and then I can do a nice comparison to see whether the green manure is any better than fresh manure or slightly aged. I cut back the autumn fruiting yellow raspberries, and this appeared, I wasn't sure whether it was something similar to that, and I couldn't believe it. It threw up another one, and I've been taking some of those. It's been a really nice change, but look at that, just off one stalk. And that's a volunteer, and as I've said before, I can't get to them, because they've popped up on the opposite side to where they used to be before I took it out. The bug hotel, just in the need of a little bit of attention after the winds, etc. And I'll be pulling these flowers out. I don't want too many seed heads to drop. I think quite a few have already dropped their seeds, so there'll be plenty there. Get this area tidied up at some stage. I still haven't tidied any of these strawberries. Sweetheart is the variety. I only managed to get these 2 beds done. And these runners taken. The giant radish, lots of seed on there. Bit damp at the moment, and I'm having to take some of the dried heads off, because unless we get some dry weather, I don't want them to start rotting or growing within those pods. And in the middle of the screen you might be able to see the fish. I don't feed them, I don't do nothing, they just seem to live quite happily in there. Need to have a bit of a tidy up. Thistles are a complete nuisance. I had to go next door late summer and trim them thistles down because those seed heads were blowing everywhere. Yeah, they probably blew from other areas as well, but that plot holder still hasn't paid his rent and hasn't made a start. He's got 1 week to go, and then it'll be let to somebody else. I've just set another barrel there. I've still got to cut the tops to get the hoses through. There's enough room now for another 2 more maybe. I've left enough room down the side so I can get that scrubber from Beihong down the sides to clean the greenhouse as and when. Jerusalem artichoke, grown in a bucket of stones, is still doing okay. And here, this is where we put the allegedly recyclable plastics in to see if they break down. So we've got some there from Cool Job gloves, and the other is from the Insectonet netting from Andermatt. Links are in the description below to see whether they do break down or not. Some of the soil that we dug out where we had the potatoes in the ground, we're not going to be doing that again. That's some of the better soil. This is the soil that is not so good, that can go in the bottom. That there can be sifted. I'm not going to be collecting leaves this year, so we can use that area for the soil. I'm going to be very busy with the garden makeover. The link to that will be on the end screen if anybody wants to see how we're getting on at home with the garden makeover. I may add some leaves to those leaves, but I'm going to create some shelving to get rid of some of this material, so that I can get access to the water tanks and then build some new beds here in the shade of the holly bush. I'm going to try and grow lettuce here to see if we can stop it going to seed. Even though we've had all this rain, you scratch down and it's still not quite wet enough. So I've put the cardboard on top now just to protect it, and I'm working my way up here, digging out the soil. We've still got Sarpo seeds buried up there, storing them. And then I've got to decide what I'm doing with these wheelie bins. But you can see here we've got ample room to travel to the top of the plot. But as I get older, I won't need the leaf mould bays. I might not need to do so much manure collecting, etc. So I'm just diversitising just to make a few changes that might help me. I've took the top out of the pear tree, conference pear. We're only allowed fruit trees to 6 foot high, so I've done that little job. I've still got to find somewhere to put these 3,800 litres of compost, so in the future maybe the leaf mould bins, because the bins on plot 3 are already still full. As and when I've got time, I need to revamp all the front of this, get rid of some of the wire, bring the netting back down again, because the weeds are getting trapped in between there, causing me a few issues, especially with more weeds within the fruit cage than I really need. The black currants are already started to show their new buds, but we won't be pruning anything back in here until just after Christmas, towards the new year. Still getting some nice lettuce in the square foot gardening beds. That one's gone to seed, so that will add to the compost bin. Jerusalem artichokes have completely died back, neglected. These containers are far too small to keep watered. Even if it rains, you still have to water them, so I might use something else in a space to grow my Jerusalem artichokes in the future. The asparagus, some of the seeds now are just going brown. I'll be dropping them everywhere and creating baby asparagus. So easy to propagate, well worth trying and doing yourself. Temporary compost bin filling up nicely. We did that on that one over there, and it was surprising how much material you get. Anything that hasn't broken down properly will end up going into the worm bin in March, etc. So that's the claret sprouting broccoli. I've never had sprouting broccoli that high before. Crispus F1 Brussels sprouts. Once they get to a decent size, you need to take the top out to stop them from blowing. And while the top is in such good condition, it's you can eat that as well. Not sure on the Red Bull Brussels sprouts. Got a few coming. If they don't do well this time, I shan't bother with those, but I've got seed left over, so well worth trying. And we're letting the broccoli, I think that's Green Man, to continue growing, to try and produce a few extra florets. That's where we cut the original off. Still got some red cabbage. Not as if I haven't got enough red cabbage as it is. All those specimens. And for some reason I seem to have a purple sprouting or claret sprouting broccoli on this side. Don't know what happened there. I've given the kale a good haircut. The whitefly are playing havoc, and it doesn't make it always taste so well. I've took down all the sweet corn, but I just wanted to show you how the rats had got on with the ones that we left. As you can see, they strip everything down completely, and I did notice that the rats were crawling up underneath, and eventually they pushed the top off. This is the one that hasn't been touched. I'll be having a little look at that to see whether I can actually save the seed from that. But it doesn't look very brilliant. We'll leave that to our furry friends. While they're eating that, they're not eating me carrots. Taking some of the dead heads off the Sun King sunflowers, giving a nice display. And as most of you know, the Mongolian giant got my granddaughter a first. She's claimed the red card. I've never got a red card. First time she enters anything, and she wins. This one actually snapped off at the bottom in the high winds, but look at the size of that trunk on that one. Definitely be growing those again next year. Cobra beans are drying nicely, as well as the long beans. We'll be saving those for seed. And some green manure I got from the Malvern show. They're only £1 a packet, so couldn't help myself. But that's the white clover. Spread that onto this bed. The apria, looking very nice. Walking onions, I probably planted them too early. We'll see what we get. We can always just use the tops. This bed was tidied up quite a while ago, just using fresh manure. Again, I'll label them up so I know what I've done to each bed. So this had green manure last year, the field beans. This year it's got the winter tares. Got 2 beds of those. I'm keeping a close eye on the surface just in case the mice find them. Didn't get anything from the watermelon Charleston Grey, and we did have a nice harvest of the mini bell. Saved those. I've got to get this bed tidied up now. Need to get the silver skin pickling onions harvested. There's some quite nice bulbs there now, because under there is the elephant garlic and the red Russian garlic. We can get that covered up, and then in spring hopefully they will appear. Plenty of potatoes left. The Swift that we got quite cheaply have done really well, and I store half a dozen of each to plant on for next year. Covered some of these beds up. Again, issues with thistles. I noticed that the mice are eating some of these carrots. I need to pull all these out now. But well worth growing them in these wick boxes. The wicks go down into these blue barrels below. I'll get the rest of those pulled out today, I think. The Carrot Autumn King that expired, seed expiry date was 2021, didn't get nothing at all, so I'll get this bed covered up now. These are the field beans, green manure. What we normally use. Again, these are the ones that will be attacked, if anything, once the mice find them. And I'm just keeping some of these labels in so I know what I've done to the beds. I think I've got enough there to do some of those giant beds on plot 1, and another bed there that we put to sleep earlier on in the year. Just get the odd weed appear. It just protects the soil from erosion exactly the same way as the green manure does. And then I can cut and drop, and then top these up ready for 2024. Gosh, that sounds awful, doesn't it? 2024. If you're not sure what blight looks like, that's the blight that you don't want. Darkness on the stems, and the tomatoes start to go horrible. I haven't touched these, I haven't been anywhere near these because the mini bell didn't get blight, and neither has anything in the polytunnel. Comfrey is still growing in the Desiree. That was a volunteer bit of comfrey. It shows how easy it is to spread. The outdoor sink has done me absolutely proud. Obviously it does get wet, water gets in and it splits, but I've got the Belfast sink from home. We've moved that now. That can come here, and I'll do away with the tap. I'll just turn the tap on to fill it instead of trying to be clever using this. It never got a good flow, but this is ideal to collect absolutely everything, including the waste dirty water, which can go on the beds, so we don't lose soil. All the soil stays on the allotments in one form or another. It does look empty in here now. Last few tomatoes, no more cucumbers. Leave it a little bit longer and then we'll see. I've got a sugar baby melon there, not very big, but we'll take it. Bill and Val's Minnesotas, they were lovely. but I do now need to use the water regularly to top these beds up, because they do get really dry, and as we all know, it takes a long time to get the moisture levels back up again. Not a bad harvest from the loft water tanks with the wicks in. It's surprising how big they grow, what shapes they take, feeding our little furry friends, and ones that just probably get far too much water. Remember, enjoy your gardening no matter what anything throws at us. Please remember, thumbs up or a thumbs down for the interaction. Please leave me a comment, and why not consider subscribing. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta-ra for now.